God-sized story.
Hello and welcome to another episode of God-Sized Stories. This week, my guest is Tony. Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, so I'm Tony. I'll be here talking to you guys now. So, a little bit about myself. Been here in the Lake County area for about 4 years. Moved from Puerto Rico to here. I'm a college student over at CLC, criminal justice major. Planning to go into the United States Marine Corps, and yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. So, Tony, you and I have been talking a little bit. You've got this really unique and beautiful story about God really coming and reigniting you. But obviously, we can't start there. We really need to kind of start at the beginning. You had a very, especially compared to most people in this Lake County area, very different upbringing. You highlighted a little bit that you're from Puerto Rico. Tell us a little bit about starting there and what maybe school was like.
Yeah, so before I moved here, I lived in Puerto Rico all my life. Schooling-wise, since I was in kindergarten up until 9th grade, I was in this Catholic school run by nuns. It was a great experience, I'd say. But yeah, so the whole thing obviously is that they were really hammering down on being a Catholic, right? Religion was a really big thing over there. And for me, coming from, from kindergarten all the way to 9th grade, yes, I already knew a lot about the gospel and knew a lot about scripture. But for me, I started getting a little bit, tired of hearing all this because a lot of it, I had questions, It came that time where, you're a kid. You get curious about things.
Absolutely.
And I started asking questions, and the nuns really didn't like that. They definitely hammered that point. If some of you don't know, a lot of Catholic schools back in the day here in the U.S., but over in Puerto Rico, they still have corporal punishment. So I was very much given those. It was a great time. But yeah, so a lot of it, they didn't really know how to answer this stuff, or they just told me, don't worry about that. You just keep reading, just keep going. And I just legitimately just got tired of it. And I was like, you know what? Why even try it? They don't even want to answer my questions. And, that starts just going down from there.
Right. So did you feel like then, I hear a lot of talk often about I can't remember the measurement that people always state, but they're the gap between your head and your heart, where it's there's the knowledge of God, but the knowledge kind of stays in your head and it doesn't really go to your heart.
Yeah, definitely. Like we had a religion class, for every single grade, you would have a religion class and you would actually get tested on these things. You would get full on 50 question test on how all right, what happened in this Matthew 3:15 to 20 something, and you'd be like, all right, yeah, so this happened. So a lot of it wasn't really oh, I'm interested in this. It was more of just I gotta get this through, because if I don't, I'm gonna get a bad grade, and if I get a bad grade on this class, that's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
So a lot of it really, wasn't oh yeah, I'm taking this to heart. It was more of I need to learn this, because if I don't, it's gonna be bad.
Mm-hmm. So that school went up to 9th grade. This is kind of hard for an American kind of our thought, because our 9th grade usually in America is freshman year of high school. So you finished up that. What was next?
So next, after 9th grade, I went to an academy, which was Catholic again. But the thing about the academy was, though, that they took a lot of it a back step. You didn't have a religious class. You didn't have any structured things, but you knew because of the uniforms and everything that this was supposed to be Catholic. But from 10th grade to middle of 11th grade, that's when really I started really suffering, because I started seeing a lot of things that kind of put me in a place that I really did not know anything about. Especially at school, they had troubles with a lot of drugs and a lot of hard drugs. Heroin was a really big thing there, and cocaine. You would go to the bathrooms and you would see hypodermic needles and stuff like that. So that's when I really kind of closed down on myself and closed down on everything that I knew, because it was whoa, they never told us about this, and this is a new environment that I've never been in. And that's really where everything started going downhill for me on like faith and stuff, because I legitimately was shocked, you know?
Yeah. So you're like, so it sounds like you're in like a really deep, dark place. But then how do you go from that darkness then to being reignited and having now this really strong faith that carries you through the day?
So I'll take you a little bit more into the story deeper, because not only like the whole academy thing started going, things started getting like piled on, because while I was in the middle of my 11th grade, we got hit with Hurricane Irma and Maria. And that's when really like I was at the lowest of my low, struggling with like food, water, and like worrying about really like looters and stuff like that. Really, that's when everything started going downhill, because you got transferred into this position of, hey, and nothing else matters. This is survival mode. You don't got to worry about anything else. You have to survive. This is really what is going on. And it was a couple days into it that like I really was like, I just took a moment. I had to take a moment, because everything was just really like crumbling down. Like felt like the walls were just closing in. Like everything I knew and like loved and stuff was just crumbling. And like I sat down. I'm like, all right, I just need to think about things right now. So I like kind of self-reflected, and like I was like, you know what? I haven't done this in a while, but I should probably pray. Because this is going to be a long road that not only is it going to be very trying, I really do need somebody to be there for me. So it wasn't really like anything fancy. It really was like, hey, I'm here. I'm struggling right now. I need help. I haven't been talking to you. I haven't been the best of persons, but I really, really need you right now. And after that, like, you know, I always had that, you know, something to fall back on. Like, really, like, if everything was going bad and really bad things, or I saw a lot of things that I would never forget, I would be like, hey, I can fall back on this, because it was like my comfort. You know, like in all this darkness and all this stuff going on around me, I took that little time off, like a couple seconds or a minute, to be like, hey, I know you're there. I know you're hearing me, and I appreciate that you're helping me. I just need you one more day, because it's just gonna be tough.
I want to reflect on something you said a moment ago that just really makes my heart jump with joy, of just the fact of knowing and realizing that, like, when we talk to God through prayer, it doesn't always need to be some big elaborate thing. Just going to him, knowing like, this is my dad. I just want to share my heart with him right now. It can be as simple as that. Like, it doesn't need to be big, fancy, memorized prayers. We have a personal, loving God who is our Father, and he just wants to hear from us, the good, the bad, the broken, the strong. So it just gives me comfort to hear, like, you got that in that moment. It's like, it's been a while. And maybe for you listening at home, like, maybe it's been a while since you've prayed. I know I have those seasons when it's like, I get about me, and I don't turn to God. And it's like, I smack myself in the head and be like, God wants to be there. He is there. He's always there. But he wants to hear from me, no matter how great or broken I am in that moment. So thank you for really sharing that part of it, because it's so strong. Like, our prayers to him, even the little moments in the day when we're like, we see something great and we're like, God, thank you for that sunlight today. Well, today it's not, but like yesterday you were talking about how beautiful it was, and you were like, it's like, even those little moments we can talk about, thanks God, this is a beautiful day. Like, he loves that too. Like, it's so beautiful and wonderful to connect to him through prayer. So moving on to our stories, like, this is really interesting. I was hearing your story earlier too, is how do you make this transition then? So you and your family, you're in Puerto Rico, the hurricanes kind of just really did a number, and now you're here in Illinois in Lake County. It's the middle of winter. We've got a bunch of snow outside. How do you get from there to here?
Oh man, so the way it kind of like worked out was we already had planned to move to Illinois, because I have 7 sisters, and 4 of those sisters have married people from the military, their husbands, right? So they were actually stationed here by mere luck, really. Like, I don't know how, but all the four of them got stationed in Illinois, very close to each other. So we're like, hey, like, most of the family's over there. Why not just move with them? So we were planning on moving December when I finished my 11th grade and move there, get settled and all that stuff. But the Hurricanes kind of were like, yeah, we're not going to wait for you guys. So they hit in September, like mid-September. And the good thing for us, though, was we already had packed everything. So all we had to do was wait till that airport was like, whenever they were like free to open up and like buy the most expensive plane tickets you could ever get, and be like, yep, all right, we're going. Shipped all the boxes over there, got on that plane ride. I will never forget because it was like packed. It was just packed. And then get here, and then it was amazing because I was like, oh my gosh, it's snow. It's snow, yeah, snow for the first time. And then, a couple months later, I'm shoveling snow. I'm like, I don't like this anymore. But yeah, the whole transition from Puerto Rico, like schools there, and schools here in Illinois, a way for you guys to like kind of comprehend like how, like you may say like, oh, school here is like not that great, all that stuff. Like if you take a normal school from United States or Illinois, let's say, and you put it up against school that I was at, it's like 5 times to 10 times better. And also you have huge schools.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I went to a kind of a small school, it was 3 times the size of my school. So, the whole thing, though, was culture-wise. Culture-wise was one of the most, culture shock, like legitimate culture shock, because I wasn't used to anything around here, like the people, like schooling, the language. At least for me, the language wasn't that bad because, I taught myself how to speak English, and a lot of people that I know don't really know how to speak the language. So it was kind of it made it kind of easier. But man, like those first few weeks when I was in school walking around, I'm like, whoa. Because all I got about high school was like movies and like, High School Musical and all that stuff. It's like you're like expecting like this huge like bullies and like the jocks and all that. And, they're just normal, regular people. Yeah, sure, you may have those, but it's not like 6'4", like Channing Tatums and stuff like that, nothing like that, So yeah, it was a weird experience, but I got into sports, so that really helped out a lot because I gotta say a lot of the wrestling guys over there really took me into the whole family stuff, and that's really how I got used to the whole thing of American schools. Yeah, it was a hard but I would say fun transition.
Well, Tony, thank you so much for sitting down with us today and sharing your beautiful, unique story. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open to share about the darkness and how it got just lifted up by God and how you use that even now today to share with people. And audience, thank you so much as always for listening. I couldn't do this without you. Bye.